Hi everybody, it's Lorraine Murray here from Connected Kids. I'm here to give you some more information and ideas that might help you if you are thinking about or are currently teaching children or teenagers or any age group meditation. I wanted to share with you some ideas and things that came up as part of my USA trip when I was in Florida. So this was the second part of my trip where I was teaching the course Connected Kids, and I was teaching people how to teach children meditation. And a couple of things struck me from that particular course that I taught in Florida. First of all, again, a very enthusiastic bunch of people who were really keen to take what they were learning and take it into either their current workplace as teachers or head teachers or yoga teachers, or perhaps just starting to apply it with their own children to see how they got on in that situation. And one of the things I find when I'm teaching the course is that people start off being very, very logical about meditation. They think that children's meditation is just going to be a condensed form of what we teach adults, and that's not the case at all, because teaching children is actually more fun and more creative and much more intuitive than is probably the case or allowed in adult meditation. And when I say allowed, I mean by what the person teaching allows themselves, not anyone else dictating to them what they can and can't say when they teach meditation. So part of what my job is in the courses is to facilitate and to show people that they are very capable of moving away from such a logical and structured approach to meditation, to allowing themselves some freedom, some playfulness and some creativity. And this is certainly what started to come out in the Florida courses that I was teaching, and showing people just how playful that they could actually be, and a sense of joy and wonder and fun. And of course children are going to teach us that. Again, as I've said always from the beginning, don't go into teaching meditation to children thinking that you have all the answers and that you're just going to get them to sit still and do everything perfectly. That's not the case. What you're going to have is an interactive experience where you're going to learn from them and you're going to understand what motivates, what interests them, and allow yourself to come out of that very left side of the brain, that very logical approach to things, and be silly sometimes as well. And this is really where I turn teaching meditation to kids on its head, because I've read several books that kind of talks about teaching meditation, and it can be very do this and don't do that. And I know other people who have an approach like that when they're wanting to teach young people or children meditation. And I think that each of us is extremely unique in terms of what we feel and what we think, and even our physical bodies. So how can one meditation just work the same way for every single person or every single age? That's just not possible. So we want to be a little bit fluid. And it was interesting being in Florida, because just because I'm a meditation teacher, it doesn't mean to say that my life is without its challenges, because we found after day one of teaching in the venue that there was a plumbing issue which prevented us from continuing to teach in that particular venue. And I'm obviously only there for a couple of days, but we managed to find an alternative venue very quickly and to uproot everybody to the new venue, which is really close by, and actually had a really nice energy for teaching in as well. And although we didn't have a flip chart, we had my friend's son, who's called Troy, we had his kind of scribble board that I used, which was wonderful, because it's all about teaching kids meditation. So it was lovely to bring that very playful and child energy into what we were actually trying to teach. So it's all about being flexible. The other aspect that came up, which is quite interesting and comes up quite a lot, is about the whole way that meditation can teach us to deal with our emotions. And when we use that word deal, it's almost like I'm saying, well, we can deal, done and dusted, that's that emotion taken care of, I don't need to feel that anymore. And that's not really the truth of what meditation and mindfulness teaches. What it does, first of all, it shows anyone of any age that this is a real feeling, and this causes a sensation in your body, perhaps, and it makes you think a certain way. So let's recognise that first of all, because we can't do anything until we recognise it. So let's pay it some attention. And then what do we do with it? Well, we can use our breath very powerfully to help us through that, because we know what we feel and it's really real. So let's use our breath to just help us just get through these moments where this feeling is really strong. And then from there we can choose to perhaps consider what we'd like to do with this feeling. Are we going to use our imagination to box it up and let it go? Or are we going to write about it afterwards? Or perhaps we're just going to accept it and really breathe it in and take it in, because it's part of who we are. And maybe we've inherited that emotion from the people that the family we were born into, or maybe we've learned that emotion. Whichever way, we have to deal with this. So that's what I mean by dealing with it. So it's not so much a done and dusted kind of approach. It's really about recognising it. And we came up, I think, on this, if you're getting this through our newsletter, which I hope you are, which you can get through teachchildrenmeditation.com, there was some, I think they were called Kimochi feeling dolls. And there was a free chart on that website. I'll probably put this up on the video blog here. And for you to help children actually start to acknowledge the feelings that they have, and to give them a more tangible way to kind of associate feelings with certain types of dolls or certain types of images or characters, which I thought was really helpful, because that's one of the biggest problems that we all have, is one, recognising the feeling is there, and two, giving it a name so we know if we can give it a name, and then three, what do we do with it? So, it's the whole kind of process of recognising that. So that really kind of came up for me in Florida. The other thing that came up in Florida, which was quite interesting, and this happens a lot when I teach the course, is just how much when you're teaching, when you're bringing up children or you're educating them, there's maybe triggers that those children press in you, which you maybe find quite challenging. And there's always a tendency to want to blame the person or the child outside of you. You've made me angry, or this has upset me, or etc., or that behaviour is not acceptable, and so on. But if we find that really strong emotion coming up in us, then my philosophy is that that emotion was already there before the child, the teenager, whoever it was, came along and pressed the button. So it's more about us looking at ourselves and saying, well, why do I feel this way? And why is it when someone, my child, teenager, says this to me, this makes me so mad? It makes me react in a certain way. And that's why I think that when we learn to teach children meditation, it gives us an opportunity, when we do it mindfully, to recognise what it is that we're feeling and what we're processing as well. And because a lot of the times we can project what we feel onto other children, and it comes out in our language and it comes out in our own behaviours, and it's so subliminal to, within our consciousness, we don't even recognise that that's how we are communicating to ourselves as well as everyone else. So I think that it's the joy for me of teaching meditation in a much more intuitive and mindful way is to recognise what these children are teaching me. And if I am having a strong feeling or strong emotion, I'm having a difficulty with teaching. It could be the resistance that they're showing me, they don't want to learn. Maybe I have feelings of rejection that I'm carrying with me, and this child is just showing me exactly what I feel about myself, but I don't really want to admit it. Maybe I feel that I've got to be powerful and control as a parent or an educator because that's what I was taught. Does that have to be the case? Can we be vulnerable sometimes with children? Can we show our vulnerability? Isn't that how they're going to learn how to be vulnerable sometimes? So I think that it was, for me in Florida, very interesting to watch what came up for the students on the course, and obviously giving them, signposting them to the tools that we're giving children to use to apply to themselves. so that they see this as really an evolving process that they go through for them very personally. And the more they become aware of that, the more sense of self-esteem they have, and the more sense of trust and faith they have in their ability to teach meditation to children, to toddlers, to teenagers, to themselves. So I just wanted to share that with you, some food for thought, and maybe some tips and ideas that might get you started in helping you to have the ability to really take this very valuable skill into the world and help bring this antidote to all the stress that there is by bringing this peaceful approach in meditation to children and young people of all ages. So I'm really grateful if you are doing that. And if you're not, then please start. Don't wait, just please start, because if my mum hadn't been brave enough to teach me meditation, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you here now, having taught hundreds of people who've taught hundreds of children, thousands of children, how to meditate. So it always starts with just taking that brave step. I wish you all the very best and good luck. And please, if you have any questions or you want to know more about the course, the book or anything, just drop me an email. Thanks for listening.